Tono Dam is one of the largest agricultural dams in Western Africa, located in the Kassina-Nankana district of the Upper East region, northern Ghana. It is important in the livelihoods of local farmers and forms a lake with a notable bird habitat. The dam was built in the late 70s and early 80s by Tasek, a British engineering company.
In the year 1960, the government of Ghana had assistance from the UNDP and then the Food and Agriculture. That was talks towards the build-up of the Tono Irrigation Company. Somewhere around 1983, the company was formed out of the fact that the two schemes, Tono and Via, were far away from Accra for the administration of JIDA. So the company ICO was formed in 1983. That was being mandated to take care of the Via and Tono schemes. And an act was passed in Parliament, 1963 Act, that gave the mandate of ICO, Irrigation Company of Afar Region, to administratively manage the two schemes.
Crops mainly produced under the scheme were rice, tomato, soya beans, onions, pepper, and other leafy vegetables. The production of these crops has contributed greatly in enhancing food security in the Upper East region and the nation as a whole.
ICO by then was empowered to deliver all sorts of services to farmers. They had mechanization, they had the silos, they had the mill, they had the extension staff. With time, I think ICO ran down drastically, and then that came a decision that the World Bank, they seek for assistance from the World Bank to be able to uplift the two schemes. Then the project called GCAP, Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, came into being.
GCAP, which is Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, is one of the most important tools by which this ministry seeks to support Ghanaian farmers, especially those in the savannah areas where they have only one rainy season, which lasts for only 4 months. So it means that for the rest of the 8 months, because there's no water, they can't farm. So irrigation is a very important instrument of policy that government uses to support farmers. And that was to ensure that farmers can produce 3 crops in a year without having to rely on rainfall. And especially in recent times, with the climate change and so on affecting the patterns of rainfall, it makes rain as a reliable partner in the agricultural area very unreliable. And therefore, you need an insurance of providing water for farmers in order for them to carry out their function over the years. So through the GCAP, government has sought to support farmers to ensure that they deliver on their mandate of providing food for the people of this country.
GCAP is providing 2 major interventions. First, we are looking at the institutions which are responsible for the management of irrigation in Ghana. That is Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, JIDA, and the Irrigation Company of Upper Region, now called ICO, which is in Navrongo. What we are doing for these 2 institutions, first, we are retooling them, providing them all the necessary tools to be able to regulate as well as manage infrastructure successfully.
Ghana Irrigation Development Authority was set up in 1977 by an Act of Parliament called Irrigation Development Authority Act 1977, also known as the SMC Decree 85. Previously, the authority used to be part of a department under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture before it was declared a whole authority. But it is still supervised by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And the SMC Decree 85 that set up the authority defined the roles of the authority. Key among them was to formulate plans for irrigation development in the country. Also to develop water resources for irrigation in the country. And also among it was to work in partnership with other agencies to ensure that the irrigation infrastructure is utilized effectively in the country. And also to support the development of aquaculture by providing the water and also for livestock development. So you can see that it is in full support of the operations of the agricultural sector of the economy.
Well, you know, many of these schemes were done in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I mean, the latest was in 74. And since then, there has been no major intervention to rehabilitate in terms of, there's no maintenance culture. The schemes have been allowed to run on their own. And in the course of the 30, 40 years, the infrastructure has crumbled. I mean, the laterals and so on that used to take water from the dams to the fields have all deteriorated without any major effort for rehabilitation. GCAP came in at a time to solve this problem by going through the World Bank and initially with the US aid to try and do a complete rehabilitation of 4 projects: the Tono Irrigation scheme, the Via Irrigation both in the north, and then the 2 along the river, the Volta River in the south, the left bank and the right bank.
We want to be able to transform the agricultural sector so that it can contribute to reducing poverty. It can help households to increase their income. It can also help the government to achieve the agenda of economic development for Ghana. So this is basically, you know, the goal of the World Bank on agriculture, to transform it so that, one, it can produce the food we need sufficiently, and it can, you know, support the overall economic development for Ghana.
The scheme has faced a few challenges, which are but not limited to deteriorated irrigation infrastructure on the 2 schemes, Tono and Via, inadequate availability of equipment for land and harvesting, inadequate numbers of technical operational staff, physical rehabilitation and modernization of the project. The Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project provided funds for the rehabilitation and modernization of the Tono and Via irrigation schemes.
WAPCOS Limited is the consultant on the project. Net irrigable area that we are supposed to rehabilitate and modernize is about 2,900 hectares. So we are supervising the contractors who are to build the infrastructure on the ground.
The scope of works for the rehabilitation and modernization of the Tono irrigation schemes involves, but not limited to, improving and repairing works on the dam wall, crest road, as well as spillway retaining walls and chutes. It involves replacement and repair of concrete lining of the main gravity canal, LBC, and the right bank canal, RBC. Repair and construction cross regulators and replacement of canal gates. Reconstruction and repair, as well as relining of laterals and sublaterals. Improvement of restricted drainage areas. Provision of causeway across the main drain with a discharge measurement bay equipped with an automatic flow measurement device. Demarcation of the Tono Lakeshore buffer zone will also be done. The project is also focused on repairing of the roads that lead to the project sites and construction of new crossing structures. Solar pumps will also be developed at pumping stations and drip irrigation on zones B and O. Canal automation and instrumentation works will also be looked at. This includes installation of state-of-the-art instrumentation and automation for gate controls, monitoring, and measurement of flows.
Because those sublaterals and even the main lateral are all not lined, almost all the lines are lining have gone. The contractor on this project is to replace most of the panels, to rebuild the laterals. The lateral is being excavated, all the old excavated, newly filled, compact, and they've cut into a trapezoidal shape, and then it's lined.
So for projects such as the irrigation facility, we ensure that all environmental issues such as waste management, reclamation of borrow pits, usage of natural resources within the area are done in a manner that is sustainable. So when we ensure that these things are done, we are sure that the environment is protected. We also have workers that work on our canals and our lateral systems. We ensure that each worker is well protected. We give them PPEs to protect themselves. We have in place policies that ensure that they work according to the labor conditions of our country. They are not abused. We also ensure that they have good eating and sleeping places if they are camped. But if they are coming from other places, we also provide for them means of transportation to the place. This makes working conditions for our workers very smooth, and it helps them carry out their roles at the project site.
When the canal got broke down, it was very difficult for us to get water into our farms. So sometimes when you farm about an acre, you will get to realize that the number of bags that maybe you might be expecting, you will not get due to the challenges of the water.
Most at times there is no water during the dry season farming. We don't have water to farm, and even when the canal was there, the water is not reaching all the farm. Our plots are not getting water fluently like the way we want it.
At times, you get water to plow transplants, and at the middle of the crop, let's say when they're about to tassel, at times you have a water shortage. So we won't have enough water to get to the crop so that they will be able to tassel very well for you to have a very good yield. At times, we use a pumping machine to draw water from the river bank. There's a river that has run through just behind the canal. So at times when we don't have water, we use the pumping machine, which is also another cost. You have to buy petrol, buy oil, all those things. Then you have to draw the water from the river bank then into your farm, in order not for your crop to spoil.
Basically, the overall objective of the rehabilitation is to improve upon the production and productivity of the farmers on the scheme. Now, we all know that for an irrigation scheme such as ours, with open canals and with a very long stretch of canal length, equipped with so many sublaterals and gates, the installation of the canal automation system and equipping with a SCADA system, which is supervisory control and data acquisition, is to help the project management team, for that matter the water distribution unit, to be able to acquire real-time data from the field with respect to water distribution. So the system I'm talking about has put in place 10 fully automated gates at strategic locations along the canal system. And on every lateral gate, we have a semi-automatic gate that is also installed there.
You are currently at the MCC room, that is the Master Control Center. With the introduction of the automation system, it's been introduced together with IT, that's information technology, to be able to exchange modern information. For example, at each lateral head gate, the amount of water passing through that lateral to farmlands or a service area, you will be able to know the total volume of water that is delivering to the specific service area. We have done a lot of installation at the scheme site. We have installed 10 of automation or full automated gates. Secondly, we have also installed 9 of automated rain gauges. We have also installed 13 discharge water levels. And we have 8 automated water levels. We have mounted 28 master tower. That master tower is to help in communication.
In fact, this is the first time we are experiencing this automation. But what we have realized as farmers is that you can only use your phone call within a minute, water is flowing. Yeah, and even if the water is overflowing, you still use your phone, call the center, and they will reduce the water.
You know, if someone says 3 minutes a day, you are able to be a good, healthy patient. And secondly, we'll be able to develop our communities by ourselves. Because we're going to be waiting everything, the government do not, school crack, we're going to be waiting, the government do not do. So far, we're getting money out of these farms. We can use the money to also maintain our schools for our children to go.
We thank government very well for coming out with this rehabilitation process. The automation has also come to help us a lot. We can now stand at our farm and call. Actually, if we need water, even they themselves can see from the office that this so area needs water. And when you call, they are even being proven before you call them.
For the fully automated gates, once they are set, they are able to adjust themselves to maintain the desired flow that you have set them to operate.
With the level of investment, we're talking about the rehabilitation of the canals and then the management restructuring, it calls for a very competitive tariff that can make ICO financial viable. We had the stakeholders meeting. We also need big investors who will come and then help in training some of the farmers in high-value crops. And we are talking of Zone O and Zone B, where we think we will get such investors who will come in. And from there, we can also get revenue from it.
The project is geared towards the employment of skilled and unskilled workers during the construction and operational phases. An estimate of approximately 500 skilled and unskilled laborers were employed at the peak of the construction phase. It has also realized a boost from 2,300 to 4,000 beneficiary farmers.
Have most part of the scheme rehabilitated, and that's for the Tono scheme.
In terms of the modernization, what we've done is to automate the use of the critical resource, which is water, to ensure that the charges are fair people pay by what they use, not by the amount of land available to them. So we are providing a modern form of automation to be able to measure the amount of water consumed by each farmer.
As to how we can mobilize this money from the farmers, we are happy to know that the WUA has come to stay. The farmers have been trained, and we are thinking that this time around, at the start of every season, we will give an invoice to every WUA service area, and they will know the amount of money their members will need to pay. And what we will only do is for them to gather the money, come pay to ICO. With that, we are sure of increasing our rebates from the 85% coverage to almost 95 or 100% payment.
WUAs are established along service areas within the scheme. Service areas are a defined farm area within the scheme where a group of farmers are expected to take water from a common source that they use to irrigate their crops.
With the resumption of the irrigation project, an estimated 12,500 farm jobs per year have been created. The project has also improved the living standards of local people in the form of better income to improve their living conditions.
The project, as you know, Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project is almost coming to an end. They had 3 tiers of works to do here: the rehabilitation, the automation aspect of the works, and then the build up to the WUA, as a water use association. The project should be ending somewhere around the 15th of this month, and the works are almost at the point of 95%. It's just some few things left to be pushed in. On the part of the automation, we are privileged, and let me start by saying that let's give thanks to the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Minister, Dr. Koto, for having had the passion to see to it that the project comes to a successful completion.
The completion of the project has seen an improvement in the rural economy, that is, a boom in business operations in the areas of transport, mechanization, telecommunications, and so forth. In effect, this will lead to better health facilities, roads, and water and sanitation services in the area. The realization of the project has also seen an improvement in the crop intensity. The total area of 2,490 hectares will be cultivated twice yearly, which in turn gives a cropping intensity to a whopping 200%, thereby guaranteeing food security and income to farmers. The project will also help in a better adaptation to climate change because the irrigation scheme will support an increased number of farmers who no longer depend on rainfall for their agricultural activities. This provides a better climate change adaptation given the global uncertainties in rainfall pattern.